So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here this afternoon. My name is Lauren Williams, and I'm the Adult and Community Services Manager for the Columbia Public Library. Today, our resident genealogist, Tim Dollins, will be giving us a tour of the genealogy resource, Find a Grave. This is a free website, and it's one of the resources that Tim includes in his list of top free websites. We are going to ask that since we have a number of people here, if you could keep your microphones muted, we'd appreciate it. Since we've got a lot of folks here today, we're grateful for that. Before I turn things over to Tim, just a little Zoom housekeeping. Today's program is being recorded, but Zoom is set to record it such that Tim's video, what he's sharing, and his screen, his face will be recorded, but your names and faces will not be on the recording. We wanted to reassure you that your privacy will be respected, and we won't be recording the Q&A session at the end of the program. Got more folks to admit, great. So this is an interactive session with time for questions at the end. So after Tim's tour, you can unmute your microphone if you want to ask a question. Again, because of the number of people in attendance, when you aren't speaking, please mute yourself. Also, if you've already spoken a couple of times, please give other people a chance to speak. You can also put questions in the chat if you'd like to ask your question that way, and I will be keeping an eye on that so I can read those questions to Tim. So that little chat bubble should be at the bottom of your screen. Or if you are on an iPad or some other kind of device, sometimes you have to tap in the middle of the screen to see those menu items, but you can use that chat to ask a question if you would like. So Tim Dollins is a library associate and 3-term past president of the Genealogical Society of Boone County in Central Missouri. He is a 2-term past president of the Missouri State Genealogical Association, and he's been doing genealogical research for over 40 years. So I will turn things over to Tim to teach us about Find a Grave.
Okay, so hopefully you can all hear me well and everything's ready to go. Thanks for joining this program. She mentioned I have a handout that's just not necessarily on this website, but it's just talks about the top 10 free websites that we can email you. And as always, anytime you have a question for me after the fact, I'll be glad to, if you email me or call the library during open hours and leave me a message, I'll be glad to get back with you and help you on any particular problems or getting onto a website. Right now, you will see I'm on the home page for Find a Grave. And what I'm going to do today are the goals, because we only have like 45 minutes or so, is basically I'm going to go through the tabs. I'm going to show you some of the cool parts of the website. I'm not going to show you everything because that would take a lot longer time. However, you could just go online yourself in various places and get tutorials that might be more in depth, but I want to show you why it was something I wanted to help you learn about, and then if you could ask questions. But I want you to enjoy it as much as I do, because for a lot of genealogists who don't want to write a family history, I think Find a Grave is a perfect website for you to record your family history on a trusted website that's permanent. It'll always be there. So, you know, if you're no longer doing research anymore, your stuff will be there, and it'll be there for posterity. It can be edited, it can be changed, but I want you to see how much fun it is. And I've actually found some of my family members on this website. If it hadn't been for Find a Grave, I would have not found my great-great-grandfather, Richard Dollins. I had no idea that he had a stone. We kept looking at the home county of Audrain, but he's actually up in Wisconsin. And I'll talk about that later in the presentation if we get to that. But again, I'm going to go through all the tabs and briefly, and I'm going to show you some examples of things that's real easy and basic to do. And so let's just go ahead and get started. Now, as you see, I'm already on the website. So I'm actually on Find a Grave. And if you were at home and you were just getting started, all you'd have to do is you would just type into your computer under your Google account or Bing, Find a Grave. And then once you clicked on to Find a Grave, you would click on Sign In. And then once you hit Sign In, if you didn't have an account, you'd say Create an Account. And just walk through, just like anytime else you're going to create an account, just create an account. So my account's up and open. And if you're having trouble opening an account, I'll be glad to talk you through that sometime when the program's over. But let's just go through some of the tabs on the website so we can get started. You notice it says over 190 million memorials created by this community since 1995. So it's been around for a long time. It's very well trusted. And so it started out as for being for famous people. And so you can type in famous people that you can think of and just hit search, and then they would show you where they're buried. And you do all kinds of things like that. And you can see people that you were interested in, just click on their names. But the cool thing about this is, just like famous people, you could also click on your own family. But everyone's being treated the same. It's just they have a section for famous people because people are always wanting to know about where the famous people are buried and visiting them. I don't do that, but some people do go visit the graves of famous people. But if you look at this screen here on Walt Disney as an example, what you see on Walt Disney on this screen is the same kind of information you're going to see about your ancestor or your relative if someone in your family has uploaded a picture on the Find a Grave or entered the data on Find a Grave. I'm going to actually show you a few things on this website where I've actually connected family members on Find a Grave, because it's kind of, to me, the most cool part about Find a Grave is that you're connecting people who are buried with people who are kin to that person, whether it's their parents or their ancestors. So if you keep scrolling down here on Walt Disney, just like any other page, you're going to see there's more information about Walt Disney: birth date, death date, burial date. You're going to view sources, and then when you keep scrolling down, you're going to see information that someone has submitted about him. Of course, you could read more if you wanted to, which this basically someone's written basically a biography on him or an obituary, but it's really a biography. But then you keep scrolling down. The important for us as genealogists is the family members, parents and spouses, and then the siblings and the children. And the cool thing about this website is that you can click on any other person on this page on the blue, and once they're underlined, click on them, and then you get that person's biography, their information, maybe their photos. And of course, we're going to talk about all this as we keep going through different individuals. But I'm going to actually pick some of my own ancestors to help you. But I want to start out with the famous people, because almost every famous person you can think of that's buried, you're going to be able to see a grave for them. But again, it's not just about the famous. You can have your own family in here. And that's why I want you to see this first, because it's just really cool to see the connections. And you see how much family's been put there. But this is a really good one to show the variety of the stuff that's being put there. And we're going to talk about, see what it says: flowers, leave a flower, view all. All these things are going to be things that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to talk about some of my own branches and not the Walt Disney. So let's go here to memorials. So when you first come to the website, you're basically going to be doing one or two things. You're going to be typing in the name of a relative that you are looking for, and you're just going to hit the word search. And by the way, you can just type in search for their last name. You just do the surname search. If you're interested, just like your surname, you can type in where they lived. Now, the one that so first of all these Dollinses are kin to me. So almost every Dollins in America coming from England, they're pretty kin to me. But the one that popped up for me that was coolest is this Richard Dollins right here. And you should always, as a general rule, you should always come to Find a Grave and type in your direct ancestors' names about every 5 to 6 months, just to see if someone's entered something. Richard Dollins was not added on here until a certain time. And that's how I found out where to go find his grave. And when I went to find his grave, not only did I take a picture of it, I actually corrected some of the information on the site, and actually got to look at the stone. But this is my great-grandfather, Richard Dollins, who, if I had not been just searching for all the Dollinses, I would have never found him. But once I saw him, I knew that was my ancestor. Now, just to give you an example on this, how to use this site, you see where it says birth and death date unknown? Well, I have not put the birth and death date in there, but you see he's buried in B-Town. And if you look at the picture, and by the way, if you click on the picture to the left, it'll make it larger. So if you can't see it the way it is, just click on it larger, and you can see the stone itself and in a little larger view. And on your computer, you should be able to enlarge it as well. And then every time you see the larger screen right here, and you want to go back to what you're doing before, always use this back button on the upper left. It says go back one page. Just if you think about go back one page, then you can go back to the previous page you were on, and you can get back to what you were going to. Now, also notice on most of these websites, you'll see where a person's name is in blue, and when you highlight it, it turns brown. That means you've looked at that. So if you're worried about what you've looked at or not looked at, you know that because it's brown and the other Richards are blue, you know that you've seen the Richard that you're looking at. So it kind of lets you know what you've looked at and what you haven't. The other thing about this entry here on this level is that, see where it says B-Town Cemetery? So that's in the cemetery that this Richard Dollins, my ancestor, is buried in. And if I was to click on this, I can just go directly to the B-Town Cemetery, and I can look for everybody in B-Town Cemetery. So, but I'm not clicking on it right now, because I want to show you some of the things about this search. And sorry, if I talk too fast, I'll try to slow down, because I do talk fast when I get kind of excited. So just bear with me. Now, the other thing that's important about on this website that you need to know right now, and I'm just going to give you the facts. I'm not going to give you everything, because you're going to be overwhelmed unless you start using this. But if I just give you the basics, I think you're going to have fun with this, and you're going to be spending lots of hours during this heat wave, just either entering your own data or having fun with it. But you see, I see if I clicked on the word B-Town because it's underlined, it would turn brown, and I'd go to the B-Town Cemetery in B-Town, Grant County, Wisconsin. But the other thing that's important on this entry, see there's a number. Each person who is added as a burial is assigned a burial number. So my Richard Dollins is 648-56466. So if I was to write that number down, 648-56466, that might be something I want to use later when I want to add a child to him or vice versa. But just an example, I'm going to go ahead and hit the B-Town Cemetery, and we're going to click the cemetery. So this right here takes you to the name of the full cemetery he's buried in. And if you look at this website, it says that its location is in B-Town, Grant County, Wisconsin. If you click on a map, it's going to show you a map of where the cemetery is. It's going to include the roads. I've been to this cemetery when I found out this ancestor had a stone. Within a month, my cousin and I planned a trip, and 3 years ago in October, we went up there and we actually looked at the site. If you notice when you see normal maps on a website, you can make it larger to fit your needs, and you can see all the roads. And then, of course, you can put it in your cell phone or your GPS, and you can actually get to the cemetery itself. The beauty of this is that you're going to always be able to get to the cemetery. And if you can't find the cemetery by the roads, you're going to be able to do it by the GPS coordinates. So if you're big into GPS coordinates, you can do that as well. Now, if you also look, that's very important. It says memorials. This means that 585 memorials are listed. And so actually, alphabetically in this cemetery, every single person that they have a picture of or they have recorded in this cemetery that someone has adopted, and we'll talk more about that later, they've actually got the names of everyone who's in this cemetery. So you could actually scroll through this whole cemetery and look through all the names, because as we know, most family members are buried close to family, right? So if there's a maiden name on a female ancestor or a relative or a great aunt or someone, you might be able to find her buried where she's supposed to be buried. For instance, Elizabeth Ann Calloway Allen, if I typed in Elizabeth Ann Calloway and didn't know her married name, I might be able to have found her with her last husband's last name and note that she would be buried in the cemetery. So this is what's so cool of this website, is that there's so many ways to find people that you haven't been able to find before because of the way this is set up. And that's why this is so cool. The other thing you'll notice is that you'll notice a little bit a flower behind. That means that someone's put a flower or a memorial thought behind someone's name. And the reason this is important is that this probably means that someone is alive on Find a Grave and is connected to this family that you might be able to contact. And I'm going to show you how to contact people later on in this presentation. But if you see a flower on someone's grave, that more likely means that someone is a living person who's a member of Find a Grave and who is interested in that same person you might be interested in. So let's go back up here. Now, for instance, I'm interested in the Richard Dollins. It's buried here. So I'm in the B-Town Cemetery. I can go ahead and hit the back button and go back to the original cemetery. But I can also, I could go back to where it says where all the cemetery are and just type in a surname and see who else is buried that's related. But either way, it's going to be a fun way for you to find other people buried in the same cemetery with different names. Now, before I leave this page, you see where it says photo added by Grave Walker L. Lopet. I'm going to click on that because this is what's going to help you find the people who are submitting data. These are the active genealogists that you might end up being active with either in your research. Now this guy here, you see his license plate says Grave Walker, so it looks like he's been doing lots and lots of stones. So he's been a member for 15 years and 5 months, and he's got to find a grave ID, which you will get a find a grave ID once you become a member, and then he's got his email there. So I could send a message to him, and actually I have sent him a message earlier, I believe. It says send a message, and I could actually type in, for instance, I'm going to say, look, Richard Dollins in B-Town. And then that's just the subject line. So if he sees this email, I'm going to say, dear sir, or dear L. Coppett, can I give you more detail about this burial? And I just hit the word send, and I hit send, and this goes directly to the person who uploaded the cemetery and uploaded my record on Richard Dollins buried in that cemetery. You could also, if you're interested in a certain person who does it, you can also follow them. So if you are following somebody, you can actually follow a person that's doing all kinds of memorials, and you can actually, you'll see your face on there if you want to follow somebody. And then as they keep adding more names, then you will be able to see what they're doing in cemeteries. The other cool part is you see where it says photo requests and then where it says contributions. If you go to photo requests, let's say there's no record for your ancestor, you could actually go to photo requests and you could actually send a request to Grave Walker, see if he'll go do a cemetery that you're interested in. And it could be the area that he's done parts of, or it could be regionally. But a lot of people will actually go and search a cemetery and take a picture for you and send it to you just because they're not close. But anyway, just so you know, it's a very interactive website, and it's very user friendly. But for a lot of people who can't physically go to the cemetery, there's a good chance that someone might be able to go and take a picture of the stone for you and put what's on the stone and enter it on the database. And then you could add your connections to that stone. So that's why this is also an important part. But just look under photo request. You can also claim one. If you click on request here, you actually claim one that you're interested in. And you can also search back for your request. Now, I've not put a request in, but all your requests that you have requested for people to go search a stone or something, they could certainly, you'll see a history of what you've requested. So let's go back to the main one again, so we can keep talking about some other choices. And I keep hitting the back button. You see the back button in the upper left-hand corner. Always use the back button on the upper left-hand corner when you're doing your searches, just so you can get back to the previous screen and get back to what you're doing. So we're going to keep going back till we get to the previous page. So now we're back to B-Town Cemetery. Now, let's say that you are going to look for your Dollins again. So I'm gonna go down here, and so on the first page, I'm gonna type in Dollins. I'm gonna hit the word search, and then I found my Richard, right? So I've got my Richard Dollins here, and I'm going to look at him again, and you see underneath his name and birth and death date and burial, you see where it says view source as well. So I hit view source. So this right here tells you that this was created by Grave Walker, like we talked before, and he has nothing else to add. He just says that he has a memorial page, and that's what they have here. And my ancestor, Richard Dollins' number is at 648, like I told you before, which is important to have because if I want to attach my family to him, then that's the number I will use to add this children's. All right, so let's go over to where it says share. So again, I'm just going to go through every single tab that you see so you can get used to using it the way I use it, but you don't use it the way you want, but I want to show you how I'm using it as a great way to learn more about your ancestors. So let's say I hit share. I can share this information on Richard Dollins on my Facebook page or on my email. So let's say let's go to email. So I'm gonna click on my email and I'm gonna email this to myself. And I'm going to actually send this information from this page to my work email, tdollins@dvrl.org. Oh, and by the way, that's my email. So if you are wanting to write that down, to send me an email or a question about this program, the tdollins@dvrl.org is the one that you can use. But you see where I can add another email? I could add another relative on here if I wanted to, or I could add, let's say, a cousin that we're both doing the same research. We'll say, or a brother or sister that you want to do research with, or a niece or nephew, or a cousin. You can put their email in there as well, and then they can have access to the same thing you're looking at without you having to send out a whole nother email and trying to attach it. But I'm not gonna do. I'm just gonna do it to myself, and then I'm gonna click off that, and then I'm gonna hit the word send. So I'm gonna hit the word send right here, and then oh, by the way, see all this crazy stuff where it says ads? I just closed those because ads pop up all the time because they have to make money. So I'm trying to clean up the front. But just so you know, this is how you can share the information. Oh, and by the way, Facebook's another cool one. If you're interested in Facebook, you'll have to type in your Facebook, your email and your password for Facebook. And then, and whatever the screen is here, you will see a link to this memorial on your Facebook account. Now, I'm not going to do this right now, but if you have a Facebook account, another great way to add it to one of your family associations, say, hey, here's the stone. So now I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to try to get out of this. I can't see the screen because it's closing me out. Well, how do we get out of this? Huh. The screen's covering up all my choices.
Can you click and drag the part of the screen away so you can see it?
No, and I can't drag the mom bar up here.
You can't click that little X by the share. Oh, there you go. We're just seeing the Richard Dollins screen. Tim, you've muted yourself.
All right, now we're good. Sorry about that. The stuff on the screen for this program is on the top of it. I couldn't get to the. All right, so let's get back to the next things. See where it says after share, you see where it says save to and then suggest edits. So I can also click save to, and you could also, if you have if you have an Ancestry account, you can send it to your Ancestry account. So I have an Ancestry account, and see, I can put it on my Dollins family tree, and I can select a person to attach it to, which is his son, my ancestor, and I can click on that, and then I can hit just next, and then Richard Dollins will be attached to my John Mallory as a parent. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this right now, but I could just hit save and it'll be there. So now I've successfully added this Richard Dollins to my Ancestry account. So I don't have to do all that retyping. I can just save what's on this website. Now, the other thing on save to, you see you can also put it onto a clipboard. So if you're working on a project, let's say we're going to project for someone else, but it's not related to your family and it's not kin to you, it could very well be that you are working on a project about somebody and you're just going to save it to a clipboard, and it's kind of like in your own little note field, or like, well, this might be relative, but it might not be. I'll just save it to a clipboard. If it belongs to my family, then I'll go ahead and add it, but I don't know for sure right now. You can also print it. You can hit the word print and it'll print the page. So all those things are available to you on this website. I'm going to hit cancel, but you see over here to the right, it says I can hit print here. I'm going to hit cancel. So anyway, so on the save to, just think about that. Now let's look at suggest edits. On suggest edits, I can actually go through here and make changes if I want to on this Richard Dollins. And I'm not going to do it right now for you, but I know that I could actually put in the birth and death dates right here. You know, 6 and then And even though I have the actual dates, I'm not going to, I can put down Virginia and just, and oh, by the way, so you see where it says Virginia and then there's a drop down screen? It's very important that when you start typing in a place or location, that if you were to go ahead and just go ahead and click on the one that they say, because in that way it makes it easier and it's cleaner. And when you do a search later, it's just, instead of you have to type in like, the name of the town, or the county and the state and then USA, just click on that and it'll be fine. So now I have it Grant County. And just go down and scroll down, hit the one that hits it. And that way it's just gonna be cleaner. Now, once I did this, I'm gonna actually go up here and I'm going to hit save suggestions. And then what's gonna happen is that request is gonna be sent to someone looking at this and they're gonna say yay or nay on this memorial. And then they will send me back an email and let me know that we've added your information to this site. And then the next time you see this site, maybe in a day or two, it'll show the birth and death year that I gave to it. They won't do it now because they haven't done it yet. So now let's look at the next one. There, see, it says photos. Well, there's only one photo of this stone. But if I wanted to add a photo, I could click over here where it says add photo. And then I could actually go over to my own personal photos of this, hit select photo, and I could drag the photo over here and put it on here, and it would be on this website in a day or two. However, if you read the general guidelines on these photos, what I would suggest is that if you're doing that, the best way to do it is to, if you have your photos downloaded to like a Google or some other program when you've taken your pictures off your iPhone or whatever, however you store your photos, make sure that that meets the requirements on here. And then you can read the full guidelines here if you wanted to, but I'm not going through them all day, but it's really cool to add your own pictures. And then you see where it says contribute right here. That's the contribute tab in the Find a Grave website. So anytime you want to contribute anything, the word contribute is the key word you're going to be looking for. But I'm not going to add a photo today, but I just want to show you how to get to that screen. So you can actually get to that part of the website. So now we're going back to the back button. And it's doing it again to me. I can't see my choices. I'll close out add photos. So see where I went to the very top of the mom bar and clicked on where I just closed the tab. And that's what I'm going to close it in here now. So now we're getting back to photos. So you can actually add photos. Now, let's say you already have a photo there and you don't care about seeing another photo of it. You could also request a photo. So this memorial already has a grave photo. You could, if you read through all here, see what it says, great news. There are 5 volunteers who want to go take a picture of this stone. Now, what this stone doesn't mention is that on the other 3 sides of this stone are his son-in-law and 2 grandsons. Now, when I get my information together, I'm going to actually add that information on here, and you will see it if I do it in like the next day or two. I'm not going to do it now. I just want to let you know that you could actually do it yourself, or you could you could request someone to go take another picture of the stone that might be more accurate with all the details and more close up of maybe the words on there, or there will be scripture on the very bottom. But then you can hit just send request. I'm not going to do that now because we're trying to do it for time, because I want to show you some other things on this website that are really cool. All right, so the other thing that people like to do on Find a Grave is you see someone on there, you know you're related, you know it's your ancestor. You can click on where it says flowers. And I think it's kind of fun to leave a flower. So you can click on leave a flower. And so it just so happens that this Richard Dollins, my Dollins family are vineyards. So I'm gonna go ahead and and he's actually a War of 1812 soldier, and that's the reason he got land in Wisconsin. The reason he's buried there. So I'm gonna pick a poppy, and I'm going to say, put a little note here. It says, this is my. Let's see if it corrects your spelling too. And then I'm going to say just add flower. You can put any kind of note you want on there. Some people put more personal notes on there because they, oh, the word Albemarle. No, actually it's spelled right. I would add flower note. And so right now I've left a note on his grave. So when someone else opens up Richard Dollins, they're going to say that my name, because my account's Timothy Dollins, left a note on June 16th, 2021. So that's kind of a cool thing. Okay, plant trees. Now, plant trees is nothing about genealogy. It's just if you feel the need to honor your relative by planting a tree, you can send a sympathy floral to help with adding memorial trees to various places. This is a website that's affiliated. There's no connection to anything else about the family. It's just that if you want to go do that, you can. Nothing related to genealogy, but if you feel the need to plant a tree on behalf of your ancestor, you're more than welcome to do it. It's just another website that is offering a auxiliary service, and it probably helps pay for the website too. Now I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna go to the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and I'm gonna hit where it says Sympathy Floral Store. I'm gonna hit the X button and close that out. Now we're still back into Richard Dollins. Now we're gonna go over to it says cemeteries. See that it says memorials, cemeteries, famous, and then I believe it says contribute. Let's go over to see where it says right here. I'm going to search for another cemetery. So I'm interested in another cemetery that I want you to see. Oh, by the way, see where it shows where you're at and what cemeteries are where you are. So all these cemeteries are the ones that someone has done find a grave stones for, and just in Boone County in general and surrounding area within a so many mile radius. Now I'm going to go back down up here to the screen here and type into what I'm interested in. And I'm going to type in one for Knox County, Illinois, because I want to show you how to add a relative to their family member. So I'm going to hit the word search. I hit Knox County, Illinois. So all the cemeteries in Knox County, Illinois are going to appear on here. So you can do a search by cemetery name, or you can also do a search by location. So right now we're going through all the cemeteries that are in Knox County. Now I know, and they're alphabetical. I know mine's Henderson, but you know, some people are not buried in the same cemetery, but they're buried maybe in a nearby cemetery. I'm gonna be looking for Henderson. So I'm gonna go down to Henderson alphabetically, and we're gonna keep going down until I see the word Henderson. And right there it says Henderson Cemetery. So I'm gonna click on Henderson Cemetery. So just before I do that, you'll notice that there's 716 memorials. And it's according to this, 86% of those memorials have a photograph attached. Now, part of the reason there's not photographs attached to memorials because they have no stone. There's a source record has been saying that someone's buried there, like the one I'm going to show you, and there's no photograph, but you'll definitely see their name if someone's added it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Henderson Cemetery, and then you're going to see, just like I showed you before, the B-Town one. You're also going to see information where they're always going to list the where it's located on which road, and there's going to always list the U.S. Geological Surveys, and this is what the website does. But then I'm going to be able to hit search and type in the last name of the person I'm looking for, and just hit the word search. And right there, I'm going to get to the person I just added yesterday. Now, Eliza Dean Edelman is my great grandmother who is buried there with no stone. But the reason I want to look at her is because I want to show you how I can add her to her mother and father who are buried in the same county. And so the information I'm going to write down on her right now is I've got her name there. I've got her birth date and her death date. And we'll write down the number who her count is. So she's 228-529013. And by the way, I added her from my personal data yesterday, just an example. If I clicked on her, you would see what I added. And so because I don't have a picture of her or a picture of her stone, because there's not one, what I did do is when I had the information to where it said information you put on this person, I put in there, obituary states she's buried in Henderson Cemetery that has no stone. I put her birth date based on her obituary, who her parents were. I put down who she married, my ancestor Daniel, and the date and where they got married and where, her second husband, the number of kids. If I wanted to leave a flower, I could, But the important thing is that I want you to see her because there's no one attached to her, right? She's not attached to any relative, even though she's my ancestor. And just so happens her husband Dan has no stone, and her daughter, her daughter, her son, who's my ancestor, has no stone as well, Hiram. So I'm not gonna be able to attach him, but I'm gonna attach her to her family. It's in Henderson. I'm gonna show you how to do that in a few minutes here. So now we're getting back to her and what I left yesterday. So you could actually add the same information you want on someone that you know and you want put on this website. It's really easy to do. And so we're going back to the cemetery. Oh, actually, let's view source just so you can look at it. So you see the source said it was by me, Timothy Dollins, and I edited June 15th. So this is important for you to look at because you could actually see when it was added because, God forbid the person that added it could be deceased, right? Or no longer active. But the way someone else can contact me is by clicking on my name and knowing me. If you click on my name, you'll see information that I'm following Grave Walker. I've contributed one memorial, one flower, etc. And there's messages. Here's messages I've sent to people over the last all the messages I've ever sent to somebody else. These are the messages that I have sent to other people. But then let's look versus this person right here says, I have a DNA connection to these people. These are all my direct ancestors too, almost. So I'm gonna actually contact this person, Jack Downs, and say, hey, how are we kin? And that's like just last year. So I'm gonna send a message to this guy here and say, hey, these are all my ancestors too. But this is how you can connect with family. That's why this is important for you to do this. Okay, we're getting close to where I have to close it, but I want to show you how to add this person here, Eliza, to her parents. So we're back in Henderson County, or Henderson Cemetery in Knox County. If I go back to view source, you notice where it says there's memorials, then region, then North America, then USA, then Illinois, then Knox County, then Henderson, and Henderson. Remember I told you that her parents were buried in Knox County, but not in the same cemetery? Well, if I click Knox County, I can actually go through to the cemetery where her parents are buried, which is in the Fuller Cemetery. I can click on Fuller Cemetery, and then I could go to where her parents are, and her last name was Dean. So I can look up all the Dean family buried in Fuller Cemetery. So this happens to be Comfort and Edward or Ned Dean are her parents, right? So you see where it says their numbers are 5524739 and 5524738. So it looks like someone has added those to the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a child to them. So here's Comfort Dean. And I'm going to, one son I just added John Dean to them. He's buried in the same cemetery because he's a brother to Eliza. I'm going to go ahead and add a child to this family. So I'm going to go down here to where it says save to. Oh, no, sorry. Let's get back to the right person here. Let's get the right place. Suggest for edits. So on suggest for edits, there's already been information there. I actually added more information on the death date for this person. But now where it says father and mother, I'm going to actually add a child. So I'm going to go to the child's memorial and add the parents, but I need the parents' numbers. So the number 5524739 was his number. Let's go back. Come on. All right. So you remember I said where his number was 5524738 and 739. So now I'm going to go back to my Eliza Dean. I'm going to go back to Fuller Cemetery. I'm going to go back to Knox County. I'm going to keep going to the back button and get back to Eliza. Well, we can do it this other way too. We can just search back to memorials if you want to, and just type in Eliza Dean. And Knox County, Illinois, hit search. So here's Eliza Dean again. So I've got her again. So I'm gonna click on her and I'm gonna go down here where it says view source. And on, okay, what'd they do? What'd they do to me? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, edit. So see where it says edit memorial? I'm gonna come down here where it says father and mother. So I'm gonna add the father, which was Edward Dean, 5524738. And there's Edward. And I'm gonna click on the mother, 5524739, and hit the click button, and there's Comfort. And then I hit Save Changes. When I look at Eliza Dean, it's going to say, aha, there's Eliza. There's her brother, John Dean, and there's her family, Edward and Comfort. And this is how you build your tree on this website. And that's why it's so fun for me, is because I can build my whole tree on here and never have to publish a book. And you can do the same thing with your family if you want your information to be shared. But the other cool thing is you're going to always find somebody else that's going to be working on your family. Like I just saw that guy that was a descendant of the Wayne Scotts that you just saw in that Dollins. I'm gonna go actually do some searching on him later today or tonight to see which branch of the family he's on, because I'm kind of excited now. But there you go, right here is, now I'm gonna shut it off for about a minute now so y'all can ask me questions. So I want y'all to be able to ask me questions. But this is just a really fun website that you can actually use for forever and a day. I mean, it's been around for 25 years. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's very well vested. And it's the most popular one there's another one called Billions of Graves. This one's much more popular. And this actually is worldwide now. So you can actually get stones for your relatives who are buried overseas. Or let's say they're not buried at all. They're like, they have like there's no memorial for them, but you can do a virtual memorial. You can also do photo requests. That's the other thing I was going to show you earlier. Let's say you wanted to have a request for a photo of an ancestor that you're not close to. You can actually go and actually search for somebody and do a request and see if someone will actually go take a picture for you. And like, because these are all Boone County, because that's where I'm logged in from, is from Columbia, I can actually go and help somebody take a picture if I can find them. And there's the request from 2017. Open means someone has not filled it yet. But look, I'm 1 mile away from a lot of these, well, not 1 mile, but according to them, I'm within close distance to being able to do all these requests. But look how many stones people are looking for just here in Boone County, and they want to find out where the cemetery is and see how you can add your information in there even though there's no stone. So it's kind of cool. So, and of course there's someone who's left flowers, and you can always, if you click on the blue, you can always talk to that person or send them a comment. And like right here, this actually usually, when someone actually is a contributor, you can see information about what their interests are and why they're doing it, and what's going on, why they're curious or interested in, being a find a grave contributor. Again, most of them are family people, but a lot of times it's just people who just enjoy going to cemeteries.